Man. There we go. Alright. Hello, everybody. Boy, this has been a very long day, but I am home finally from gaming retail, and I've put some food in my belly, and now I'm going to be streaming some MagMax here in just a little bit. I promised I was going to do some streaming this weekend, and unfortunately, although it still counts because it's Sunday, a weekend is a weekend. Tonight, I'm going to be playing some MagMax for you. MagMax is an arcade game that not a lot of people know about. MagMax, if you know it at all, you probably recognize it from the NES port. But this here is the actual, not the actual, but is an emulation of the coin-op original. And I actually have some experience with this game, not the NES version, but actually the coin-op. I had a chance to play it back in high school, as it was in a local convenience store, and I will talk more about that as I get started. As a matter of fact, I guess we'll just start now. So the idea here, it's just a basic scrolling shooter. Not a lot of strategy involved here. The power-ups are really with the robot's body parts. Here's the head here. When you do that, your weapon gets a little more powerful. Boy, I did the one thing I didn't want to do, which is go underground. Going underground in this game is kind of like when you play Legendary Wings and you wind up getting sucked up in one of those zones you don't want to be in. That's a lot like what this is. It is unnecessarily difficult and almost punishing in a way, and not a place that you want to hang out. So we'll go back up top to the surface. There we go. So there's nothing really outstanding about this game. It doesn't reinvent the wheel in terms of shooters. There are some things are a little bit different, but nothing really to write home about. The good news is the game isn't very difficult. So if you're new to shooters, or if you're used to shooters kicking your ass from the 1980s, this one is a bit more forgiving. I'm not playing very well, however, this evening. Usually I'm better at hanging on to the robot parts for a bit longer, but I've just been losing them as soon as I get them here. So there are 3 additional body parts that the robot can have. The legs, which you see that I still have somehow. You can also get a head, and then you can get a beam laser, which adds to your firepower. So the music changes as we're now in a different zone here. There's the head. And with each zone, the game gets just a little bit tougher. And there is the beam gun. And I already lost my legs. And I lost my head. But still doing okay here. And I lost my legs. As badly as I'm playing, oh, there's my first life lost. As badly as I was playing, I didn't lose a life until right there, so that's pretty good. So again, as you can see here, I mean, there's nothing overly creative about this game. The enemy designs aren't really all that creative. I mean, you got sailboats here for whatever reason. You have these weird platform-looking ships that really don't look all that menacing. Christmas trees that attack you. And interestingly enough, these metal bases can actually be a pain in the ass. Beam laser. body. There we go. So this is as powered up as MagMax gets. Well, or at least it was until I lost my footing. Whoa, this gets tough. I think that the biggest challenge with MagMax here is just, aside from watching where we're going, is just staying focused. Because the game is not really outstanding, if you do play it, getting a high score can be difficult because you don't stay focused long enough. It's very easy to not pay attention for just a moment, and if you do that, that can be the end. So now, here's the first boss encounter of the game, and this really is just pattern recognition, alternating between up and down. There we go. The good thing about the beam laser, you probably saw it, is that it can take down all of these metal obstacles, which is a plus, because they can kill you if you're not paying attention. Could have handled that better. Legs back, lost my legs. I think this game, more than many others, is, for me anyway, is fueled purely by nostalgia. The game is very unremarkable. And I've talked at length about the enemy designs and such already, and I mean, it's basically just a game on a loop. Once I get past the second boss monster here, if I do it, because I'm not playing very well tonight, but it just loops back to the beginning, and it's... there's no story, there's no really interesting characters other than maybe the MagMax robot when it's fully built. So it's mostly just nostalgia, remembering playing it as a teenager when there weren't a lot of new arcade games locally for me to play. At the time when I played this, I was living in a smaller town, a more rural area, and we didn't have malls or arcades really close by, so this game was one of the few selections that I had. Man, I'm dead. That's great. So it was one of those situations as an arcade game fan and someone who didn't have a console at the time that you basically, you played what there was, and you liked it, because as a game player, you really couldn't pick and choose. So even though MagMax is really not all that awe-inspiring, it was still a video game. It was something that you could play and at least somewhat enjoy. You could shoot for a high score, and it was something you could spend your quarters on. I'm trying to recall all of the games that I got to pick from in this small town, and I talked about them in a prior video, but I'll run through them real quick. Wait, let me get past this boss character first, or this boss monster. As you can see, it's already recycling. I mean, we've already battled this guy before. So there are two places that you could play arcade games in the small town that I lived in. The first place was in a convenience store, which was just a couple of blocks away from the apartment complex that we were living in. I was the oldest, or I am the oldest, of what was a single-parent household. So, I'm dead. So, within a couple of blocks of this place, there was a convenience store called Call's Corner. And Call's Corner was your basic convenience store. Had a bunch of snack food and soda and your basic stuff that you might need that you don't really want to go to a supermarket to get, or you're too lazy, or perhaps the supermarket isn't open yet, or whatever it is. But this particular convenience store had built an addition in the back, and this addition was used to house arcade games. This was one of the games that was back there early on. I'm dead. There was also Splatterhouse for a time. I guess I'll put my name in here. Ye Are Kung Fu, which I'm hoping will come out for Arcade Archives at some point. Life Force, Matmania, which will be another stream that I'll do sometime soon. Cabal, and this game. Then the other place that I would play arcade games would be at the local teen center. As long as you were in middle school or high school, you were old enough to go to this teen center, and in there they had this weird hybrid. It is almost like a hack of track and field and hypersports. It was both games kind of combined. There was also Karate Champ, another game for arcade archives that I've played. There was Time Pilot 84, which I still really haven't played all that often. And we haven't seen that for a home console. We've seen Time Pilot a bunch, but we haven't seen Time Pilot 84. There was also Tournament Cyberball 2072, which I bought for the Xbox 360, and it's also available on Midway Arcade Treasures. And there were a couple of other games that kind of slipped my mind. So those are the games, those two places were where you could play arcade games. So I spent, obviously, a lot of time at those places. And I enjoyed them. I didn't get necessarily good at any of them, although I can hold my own on MagMax now. In Karate Champ, I can't play well, but I can play decent enough to make my quarters or quarter last longer than a minute, and I'll take that. So before I get back into the game here, I think I'm going to get myself a drink, because damn it, I can. This is my first time streaming on the YouTube channel. I am a convert from Twitch, and I figured I would try this for the first time. And so far, it's been a smashing success. A total of 0 people watching. Not that it matters. The one thing I'm noticing right away that's different from Twitch is that the camera isn't as zoomed up. So unless I sit on top of the television, like, you can see a lot more of me. You can almost see how fat I am, actually. It comes down to my chest. Let's go ahead and we will try playing this one more time, and until someone comes in, I will just keep my mouth shut. Wow, this is 1985, so this game is now 30 years old. Alright, let's do this. Can't say for sure that I'm going to reach 220,000, but let's see if we can't go for that high score this time. Okay, that's a good start. A little bit behind the 8-ball here because I made a mistake early. Ugh, man. Oh yeah, I got the 10,000 points. I guess I'll take that. Totally not going down there. No. There we go. That was decent. One piece of strategy for this game, for those of you who may want to play it, whether it's on this version or I believe the NES version also has them. There are certain enemies, and you saw it earlier, when you shoot it, it splits into eight balls. Everything that one of those balls impacts is worth 1,000 points. So it's possible to rack up points pretty quickly. This guy right here. So that was 2,000 points right there. Nope. Okay, so the balls can kill you. I did not know that. So this game isn't very good, or this particular run is not very good. I think the first run I had was over 100 grand, so I have a lot of work to do. Although I do have one ship in reserve, so it's not a complete waste. Really hate those lily pad looking ships, though. Go. Let's not die here. Alright, here we go. Ah! Okay, so that's an exhibit of how you should not play MagMax. Not really paying much attention to the bullets here and just kind of shooting willy-nilly, and that's not good. Well, now I can see how many points the boss monster is worth. What platform is this for? This is an emulation of the arcade game. There's also an NES port of this, which is not bad. Oh, so there are people watching, I guess, but I don't know that there are. That's kind of unfortunate. I guess I feel like an idiot now. So hello to anyone who's watching. I guess then I can talk and not feel like I'm talking to myself. Yeah, this is can be found in the PlayStation Store under Arcade Archives, which is my favorite series of PlayStation games downloadable right now, for obvious reasons, being the big arcade junkie that I am. Having these games available, and there are lots of good ones. I have this, and Gradius, and Double Dragon, and MacMania. So there are quite a few, and there are ones I still want to get. Crazy Climber being one of them. Yeah, I guess it is kind of, it does kind of have that look to it, doesn't it? Or at least as close to that monster as can be without having any kind of legal entanglements. Yeah, I don't need another head. I don't need that either. I need feet. Give me feet! Here are the feet. Aw, man. Yeah, I don't know, because this is my first time streaming on YouTube, so I don't... that sucks. So, I don't know if, I don't know if this automatically archives or what the deal is. If it doesn't, though, I'll be sure to make sure that it gets archived. One ship left. This is my last guy. My last ship, whatever. I think, James Rolfe and Mike Matei had a conversation about this once. Maybe it was with the Nostalgia Critic talking about what you call it. Is it a last guy, last life, last ship? What do you call it? Like a one-up? Is it an extra life, extra man? Head, beam, legs. Alright, now we're cooking with gas. Now let's see if I cannot screw this up. Here, hey, look at that. Alright, and I did screw it up. Aww. 1, 2, dead. These things suck. Definitely not my best game. I got all of my body parts here. Now I gotta try and hold on to them. What was that? That literally looped back around and kicked my ass. That's unfortunate. Okay, time to beat down this thing again. And I lost my attachment. Yeah, there we go. Do I like RTS games? No. They're too slow for me. Again, being an arcade kind of game player, more twitchy action. Games that plot along like that, I have a really difficult time with. Kind of on the same vein, although it's a different kind of game. I started trying to play... Oh, crap. I started trying to play Final Fantasy Tactics earlier this week, and I was just so bad at that. Damn, I'm dead. I was so very bad at Final Fantasy Tactics, and it's because it moves so slow, and it requires such thought in advance, and I don't think that far out, that I lose quickly. I think it was the third battle in to Final Fantasy Tactics, where I was supposed to save some guy, and I didn't do it right, and he died, and the game ended. So, RTS games are very cool. They're for definitely for higher thinking kind of folks to play, and I totally respect that. But for me, I can't do them. It's just not something that I'm very good at. I certainly respect them. There are certainly lots of good ones out there. I think the biggest surprise I ever got was when I found out that Brutal Legend was part RTS, and that angered me to the point where I actually traded the game in less than 24 hours. Because I thought it was an action game, I was all excited, and then the RTS stuff started. I said, what the hell is this? And I brought it back to GameStop, and I never saw it again. So yeah, RTS games just not my bag, I guess. Oh, man. Let's try this again. Really got to make a run at that high score. Staying away from those. There we go. Still like to know why Christmas trees are attacking me. Really don't understand it. Where are my feet? There we go. Let's not do something stupid here. Ah, boo. Okay, that's 2 mistakes. It's an interesting power-up system that MagMax uses. Rather than straight-up power-ups like you'd see in 1942 or Gradius or any number of shooters at the time, the robot parts are really where the power-up kicks in. And they also act as a life bar too, because for each one of those that you get, you're able to withstand another hit. And then once you're down to your basic ship, well, that's that. I think it's one of the reasons that I like this game versus a lot of other shooters at the time, is that those were really just designed to do nothing but steal your quarters, and you didn't feel like you had a lot of control. This game isn't brutally difficult. It just requires that you pay attention. And you have to pay attention to everything that's going on. Where all the bullets are, enemy formations and movements. Because if you don't, especially these suckers right here, they will circle back. If you think they're off the screen, they actually circle back and will get you from the back. So, really important to keep track of where your enemies are at all times. So far, so good. Okay, now we gotta take this guy down again. Ah, crud. Whoa. on. There we go. Oh! These frickin' things. Damn it! That's twice. Yeah, that's what I figured. And that's the only boss character in the game. You see him twice, or it twice. I don't really know whether there's a gender, but it appears twice before the game kind of starts over at the beginning screen. So not a lot of variety, not a lot of creativity here. It's just your very basic run-of-the-mill side-scrolling shooter here. Gosh darn it! Whoa, hey, hey! Okay, that's good to know. I didn't know. I figured there was going to be some sort of that there was going to be some sort of delay, because I know Twitch has it too. Oh man, come on! All right, that was a waste. Take that, and that, and that. No, no, no! Ah! Darn it! Oh! Alright, let's take this guy down again. So, as you can see, like, it's just this boss monster, and that's pretty much it. Ah. And we're back at the beginning. So, in terms of backgrounds, anyway, the enemy placements are a little bit different. There are more of these metal post things that can kill you if you run into them, which is silly, by the way. Gosh darn it. It's alright, still got 2 ships left. Do need some robot parts here. Here's 100,000. Whoa! That's not even right. Oh boy. Thought I might get an extra life there. No such luck. Man, this is tough. Okay, well, let's see what happens here. No head means that I can't use the beam weapon ended. 126 grand wasn't bad. Yeah, I was really in the zone when I got that 219,000. It was the first day that I got the game. I meant when I got it with the sole purpose of being able to stream it, and I couldn't wait to stream, so I figured I would just try and play it. And that's when I wound up with the 126 grand. So I mean the 219,000 or whatever it was. Here it is. So yeah, that's MagMax. Not the most creative, not the most original, not the toughest, not the longest, not the most feature-packed arcade game around, but definitely one of those games that if you have any nostalgia for it at all, it kind of stands out to you. Do one more here. I mean, that's the thing about this game for me, is not its quality at all. You know, I certainly wouldn't run out and advise people to spend their quarters or tokens on this game if I saw it in an arcade. There are plenty of other games that are more deserving of money than this one. But when it's one of the few games around that you could play as a kid, that you could put your quarters into, you learn to appreciate it just a little bit more. You're not playing. Oh boy, that's terrible. Alright, see you later, Captain. We'll do this again soon. And I think I'm going to follow the captain's lead, and I'm going to cut this stream a bit short. Hope you enjoyed it, everybody. Thank you very much for watching.